Welcome all of you again. Let us take a problem. Basically, he is a javelin thrower. So when he throws this javelin, it goes in this projectile motions. It makes an certain angle theta. Once when he throws this javelin with an angle theta 1 with the horizontal, then it reaches the aim. Try to reach the aim, but it missed this thing. And if I say it is at a distance d from here, the aim which one is targeted to reach, that is at a distance d from here, then he just missed this aim, and that's why he just throw this javelin strikes here. Okay, and due to this he missed the target, say by a distance d1. So actually at that time, if it throws at an angle theta 1, so the distance covered by this javelin at this point of time is d1. Okay, and let us consider now he changes his angle, and now he throws this by making an angle say theta 2. So if he throws this at an angle theta 2, again it misses the target and the javelin strikes here. Okay, say this thing is d2, and the distance of the target from the point it strikes, it is d2. Okay, the thing is that we have to find this thing, that what will be the angle, what will be the angle theta such that he can actually hit the target. So when he throw this javelin with an angle theta 1, with the grazing angle theta 1, at that time actually he covers the distance d plus d1 u square sine 2 theta 1 divided by g. Obviously then d plus d1 will be its range, and here I considered in both of the cases the initial velocity of throwing is equal. In the next case, it will be d minus of d2 equal to u square sine 2 theta 2 divided by g. Okay, so this is the two things. But if we want to hit that target, then the range should be d, and at that time it should be u square sine 2 theta divided by g. So from here we have to find out this angle theta. So let us give the name of this equation. For the first case, this equation is 1. For the second case, this equation 2. And the actual throwing, when it hit the target, at that time equation is 3. So now it is all left for mathematics. Here is no physics at all, no concept at all. We try to find out, whatever be the procedure, we try to find out the value of 2 theta, or theta basically. So if I multiply this with d2, multiplying 1 by d2 and multiplying 2 by d1 and then adding, what it gives? It gives d d2 plus d1 d2 d2 u square sine 2 theta 1 divided by g. This is the first equation, multiplying 1 by 2, and then if I multiply the equation 2 by d1, then it will be d d1 minus of d1 d2. It is multiplied d1, so it will be d1 u square sine 2 theta 2 divided by g. So if I add these equations, and just see, these things cancels out and it will be d d1 plus d2. and from here u square by g, if I take it common, then it will be d2 sine 2 theta 1 plus d1 sine 2 theta 2. This is the thing. Okay, now here if I put the value of the equation 3, that is u square sine 2 theta divided by g, here is d1 d2, d1 plus d2, here is u square divided by g, it will be d2 sine 2 theta 1 plus d1 sine 2 theta 2. So from here if I want to find out the value of sine 2 theta will be very beautiful expression, d2 sine 2 theta 1 d1 sine 2 theta 2 divided by d1 plus d2. So this is the thing, and here obviously I have cancelled out u square by g from both sides, and from here the angle of throwing, the perfect angle of throwing so that it reach the target, that is theta, will be 1 by 2 sine inverse this whole quantity, that is d2 sine 2 theta 1 plus d1 sine 2 theta 2 divided by d1 plus d2. So this is the perfect angle of throwing. So if he throws with this angle, then he can reach the target. So at first he misses the target, it is advances by d1, then he misses the target again for the throwing the angle at theta 2, at that he misses the target, it is d2, it have to cross d2 so that it can reach the target. But if I throw the angle theta that we have calculated now, so that it can reach the target. When I am discussing the rectilinear motion, if you see this series, then you know that if the acceleration is known, how the acceleration varies if it is known, then you can find out the equation of motion by the method of integrations easily. So here that scenario that I have drawn it again, and here if I say the ax, along the x-axis the acceleration is actually 0, but along the y-axis the acceleration is minus g. So if I write down this thing as dvx dt equal to 0, okay, so from here dvx equal to 0 into dt, integrating integration of dvx, 0 into dt obviously 0, but after integration there will be a constant comes, that is called the integration constant. So it will be vx equal to a. At t equal to 0, at t equal to 0, the x component, that is the x component of velocity initially, that is equal to ux, and that is equal to u cos alpha. Okay, so a, if I put this in this equation, if I name it as equation 1, then it will be u cos alpha equal to a. So we find out the value of u cos alpha by applying the boundary condition equal to a. Find out the value of a. Now if I put this in this equation, then vx equal to u cos alpha. Dx is the x component of the velocity, so I can write down it as dx dt. Okay, dx dt equal to u cos alpha. Clear? So from here dx equal to u cos alpha dt. So if I integrate this equation, integrating dx equal to u cos alpha dt integration. The integration constant now I take it is b. So from here if I do the integration, that will be x u cos alpha into t plus b. B is the constant of integrations that have to be find out from the boundary condition. At t equal to 0, the x, what is the value of the x? Obviously it is 0. Okay, so if it is 0, then it will be, if I put this in this equation, then it will be 0 equal to u cos alpha into 0 plus b. So from here b equal to 0, so that we get the equation x equal to u cos alpha into t. So just see from here what we have obtained. Along the x-axis the acceleration is 0, acceleration does not affect it. So from here we obtain at any point anywhere Vx equal to u cos alpha, and it is independent of time, so it is not changed. So at each and every point on the projectile, the x component of the velocity is u cos alpha. That we get from the concepts. The integrations by applying boundary conditions, we have also see the same thing. In addition to that, x equal to u cos alpha into t. U cos alpha is the velocity of the particle which is constant throughout the motion, so it is the motion of the particle under uniform velocity along the x-axis. Now let us check out whether these things satisfy for the y-axis or not. So it will be dvy dt equal to minus of g. So from here dvy equal to minus of g into dt. Integrating, integration of dvy equal to minus of g into dt plus a constant of integration, we take it as c. So from here it will be vy equal to minus of g. Since g is a constant, it can be taken outside the integral. Integration of dt will be t, so it is c. After that, if I apply the boundary condition that at t equal to 0, the y component of the velocity is u sin alpha. Okay, so if I put this in this equation, say equation 3, then equation 3 will become u sin alpha equal to minus of g into 0 plus c. So from here c equal to u sin alpha. Okay, from the boundary condition we have found out the value of c, and if I put this in this equation 3 again, so it will be vy equal to minus of gt plus of u sin alpha. Vy can be written as dy dt, so it is minus of gt plus of u sin alpha. So if I write down this equation, then dy is equal to minus of gt dt plus of u sin alpha into dt. So after integrating, what we get? Dy minus g is constant of time, so it can be taken outside, it is t dt. U sin alpha is constant of time, so it can be taken outside, it will be dt. So from here we can understood this thing. It is y equal to minus of g, it is t square. Obviously here one thing I have missed, that is the d is the constant for integration. It is t square by 2 plus u sin alpha into t plus d. So let us say this is the equation number 4. At t equal to 0, initially y equal to 0. So if I put these things, obviously you can understood from here, if I put this equation 4, then the boundary condition gives us d equal to 0. So from here it is clear that y equal to u sin alpha, if I just slightly make a rearrangement, u sin alpha into t minus of 1 by 2 into gt square. So just see, again we got this thing, that is v equal to u sin alpha minus gt. If I arrange this equation, vy equal to u sin alpha minus gt, ay equal to minus g. So the acceleration is constant throughout the motion and it is minus g, and vy equal to u sin alpha minus gt. So we can say at each and every second the initial velocity u sin alpha is reduced by g. That is, in the first second reduced by 9.8. In the second the velocity, that is vy, will become u sin alpha minus 9.8 into 2, that is 19.6. In the third second it is u sin alpha minus 9.8 into 3. These are the velocities reduced. And similarly here also, y equal to u sin alpha minus of half of gt square at each and every second. So it is reduced by the amount of half of gt square. So in the first second it is reduced by 4.9. Put wt equal to 1. In the first second it is reduced by the y, that is the distance covered along the y axis, u sin alpha, it is reduced by this. Okay, so I think you understand this thing, that what we have derived from the concept, if somehow we forget the concept, then we can easily derive these things from the method of integrations if we know the properly what the boundary condition is. That is, initially the state of motion of the particle is known to us. We can find out the state of motions of the particle at any instant. So again, this integration method proves us it is so easy and we can easily derive this equation of motions. Thank you.